We currently live in a world in which people are spending more and more time on the internet and less time in the realm of physical reality. Many people are joining online communities or forming intimate relationships with people whom they have never met in person. With the help of a computer, someone can do their job without ever having to enter an office building. The need for physical presence is becoming outmoded in favor of an online presence. The role of cyberspace in our lives is often criticized and even feared as it develops in significance. Computers are creating spatial relationships which these critics deem unnatural, and many make an active effort to work against the mainstream involvement with cyberspace by staying away from social media sites or by locking up their phones and throwing away the key. What they don't realize is that this process of increasing dependence upon cyberspace is not only inevitable, but is indicative of a larger entropic fate. It has always been the ultimate human quest to dismantle God and become our own divine beings. However, we have never been able to achieve this. Nothing we created could ever be truly new or original because it was made out of earthly materials, and thus we were merely recycling ourselves and the natural world we are a part of. Our latest invention is different. Cyberspace is on a reality plane, which is separate from the natural cycle, and so does not need to abide by the universal law that matter cannot be created or destroyed, only reused. This time around, we are actually creating matter, something out of nothing. Like in the story of Adam and Eve, this godly creation begins using the material of the self, Adam from the flesh of God, but then is set free to evolve of its own accord within the boundaries of its own reality plane, the space which co-evolves alongside it. Since the God figure does not reside within this new space, its creations may vaguely sense its existence, but are inherently unable to prove that it is real. They cannot pierce the boundary of the reality plane to make their creator tangible. The tricky thing about our reality plane is that objectivity cannot exist within it. Every time we perceive something, we are interpreting it through the lens of ourselves. As a result, there is no single true representation of anything, but instead an infinite number of versions of things constructed from the fabric of each individual's own complexities. Our creation of online selves is an effort to manufacture an objectivity-friendly world. Although we ourselves are tangled in infinite nuance, we have agency over the persona we display on the internet, be it through blogging or social media. In this way, we can offer a clear-cut version of ourselves to anyone perceiving us online. All of the information they need to know is visible and controlled, as opposed to the mess of data they would receive in a physical interaction with us. By engaging in this creation of the second self, we are essentially destroying solipsism and allowing ourselves to trust the objectivity of our perceptions of things beyond ourselves. With the development of cyberspace, we're constructing an ecosystem of belief that the internet is the only place where this objectivity, the true reality, dwells. Thus, our subjective world is a false reality. Within this mindset, it is understandable that we should collectively desire to escape our own limiting reality plane and exist in the reality plane of the internet. The internet is the home of truth, and in comparison, the natural world is second-rate. As a result of this sentiment, more and more aspects of our lives are bleeding into cyberspace. Not only is the internet a watering hole for forming social relationships, it is also a global shopping center and a job market. It is the place we go to if we need entertainment. It is the place we go to if we need validation. It is the place we go to if we need an answer to a question which we find unanswerable. Furthermore, things from our reality plane which do not have an online presence are rapidly depreciating in value. We seem to be edging towards an existence in which objects or people rooted in the physical realm will be outdated, and eventually will cease to exist entirely as we stop believing in the validity of our reality. A possible reason for this phenomenon is that there is a finite amount of space in the universe, and although two reality planes can overlap, there simply isn't room for either one to exist to its fullest extent while the other is present. So, one world is doomed for destruction. By creating the reality plane of cyberspace and allowing it to grow, we are choosing for that doomed world to be our own. The problem is, it is impossible for us to leave our reality plane behind as it withers away. Although we currently have a degree of access to cyberspace as its creator, this will cease to be the case as it evolves beyond its dependence on us and our human frailties. As the alternate reality plane continues to grow, there will be less and less space for us to exist. We are intrinsically bound to our world and its fate. In this way, the creation of cyberspace is both the apex of our technological advancement as a race and the beginning of our ultimate demise. Humanity as an entity is becoming the new God, but in order to do so, it must self-destruct. This process comes in two phases. The first is the initial destruction, when our reality is annihilated and the world we invented becomes the primary reality plane. We will cease to exist in our current self-aware form and transform into the aforementioned intangible God figure to our creation. The second phase, the true destruction, is when cyberspace begins to crumble as its inhabitants produce their own true creation and begin to reject their reality. And because they cease to believe in their birth, they must inevitably cease to believe in their mother, humanity. It is then that the world of cyberspace, the only establishment remaining to confirm our existence, annihilates us completely. In order for life to be created, life must first be destroyed.